Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my shop. And welcome everyone. It's a cold and rainy day today. Perfect day to be back in the shop. And I guess since I'm back in the shop, I might as well get back on this 1975 Corvette Stingray and continue on with the repair I started many moons ago. So stay tuned and let's get busy. Alright, I'm going to try to get you up to date since this repair video has been dragging on forever. The original repair that I started on this was my timing chain was so loose it was hitting the inside of the timing chain cover, making a rattling sound once it warmed up and once it was at idle. Didn't notice it cold nor going down the road, but at idle it was plain to see. A little section here will pop up. Here it's evident now, it's warmed up. Right. Well, so in order to get to that timing chain, you got to practically take this front end down to parade rest. Now that I've been somewhere with this thing, I now have got some lessons and I'll go ahead and pass them on. And one of the things that I didn't have to do was I did not have to pull this radiator like I did. Now I pulled the radiator not because I wanted to, nor because I needed to do the repair. I needed to because I thought that was the only way I was going to get this shroud out. The shroud did have to come out to give me room. Now that I've worked on this thing and figured some things out, I shouldn't have ever pulled that radiator, because to get you caught back up, I put a hole in it, pulling it, all right? And I took it to a radiator shop to get it repaired. Now, they fixed the problem. They flushed it out, they dipped it, and they painted it, and pressure tested it. Well, I don't know how accurate their pressure testing was, because as you can see, I've got the radiator in and the shroud. Unfortunately, well, let's say fortunately, I decided to take a radiator pressure tester I've had for years now, and we'll cut to a real quick shot of it. This is my Gates radiator pressure tester. I wasn't a line mechanic when I purchased this, but I was doing a lot of shade tree side work at the time, and so I was running into a lot of overheating issues, and this is invaluable to troubleshoot the older stuff. I don't have adapters for the newer stuff, but the older stuff works great. And before I put that expensive antifreeze in here, I decided I would go ahead and do a pressure test to make sure that the system would hold. Well, as soon as I pumped it up, the radiator cap states it should be 16 pounds of pressure. It should hold it. And I believe that's what the book says. I didn't read further. I just looked at the radiator cap. Well, I decided I'd pump it up to 10 psi. Well, at 10 psi, I thought I could hear some air escaping. So I went and got me a spray soap bottle, and I'm going to cut to a scene here in a moment, and you can see where I discovered 3 spots that were leaking. Well, that warning told me my battery was going dead. But anyway, look at them tiny bubbles. tiny bubbles, and that's where it connects up there at the upper section of the radiator. Let me get a light. There's number 2 right there. Okay. Let me see. Am I seeing nothing there? Okay. And where's number 3? Number 3 down there in that corner. You see that? There's 3. Okay. And there in that corner, I see a white, but it's not bubbling. I don't know if that's just from where I sprayed down there. So definitely 3 leaks. The spot that they repaired wasn't leaking, but 3 new spots were. Now, again, I don't know how well their pressure testing was, or if the repair and the dipping and the pressure testing probably wore this thing out, because this is the original 75 radiator. And and where it sprung 2 of the leaks, I'm not going to repair it. I'm just replacing it. So I have ordered another aluminum radiator to replace it. Now, mind you, I had no cooling problems whatsoever until I started messing with that timing chain. Now, it's possible that this radiator could have failed because I was driving it more and more and, running it harder and harder. So it's possible it probably would have failed eventually. But I decided I'd put a little bit of money into it and get it fixed. And, ends up that wasn't a good decision. I should have just went on ahead and bought a new radiator anyway. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this all out again and get it ready for the new radiator that I have not received yet. So anyway, stay tuned and let's pull this all out one more again. Much I'm going to have to go underneath to get the 2 shroud bolts out down there, and to get to the 1 transmission cooler line. I got one up here. Well, we're underneath. We got a bolt here, a bolt at the other end, and then we got the lower transmission cooler line. Easy. This one's not going to be so easy. There, okay. All right. I pushed it both off. There's 2 studs that come through, and I've got the lower shroud that is now disconnected from it, and I probably will have to raise the radiator up a little bit in order to get this lower cooler line off. So anyway, let's go back up top. Can't get him up now. Well, it should go around that hose, no problem. All right. That's with the lower radiator hose still connected. I tell you, it's tight. And I'll show you how I was able to get the room. All right, there's two ways that you can get the room you're going to need to get this pulled this way enough to get the shroud out. The radiator will easily lift out now. All I got to do is disconnect that lower hose. All right. All right. This is a 75, and it had air conditioning. If you notice, the condenser is gone. I pulled it. The condenser was in, the whole air conditioning was inoperable in this car. And I tried to get it working back in the summer, and the PIR valve, which sits way down in there, it's bad. And it's like a combination valve. It's an accumulator, it's a bypass, not a bypass, but a pressure relief. It had, and a dryer all built in one. Now it's bad. Now the rest of the system held pressure, which I believe the condenser was good. So, but the problem is you can't pull this up enough this way because the condenser hits the headlight actuators. Okay. So you've got two choices. If you've got a working air conditioning system, I would not, of course, recommend to pull that condenser. I would say to pull your two headlight door actuators, and that will give you the room. I would have done that, but since my air conditioning is inoperable and is not going to be operable for quite a while, I took the route of removing the condenser. That gave me the room I needed to get that, and it's the shroud. The problem is the shroud. It's not the radiator. It's getting the shroud out. So anyway, there's where we're at. And I guess I'll show you the problem with the shroud, getting the clearance for the shroud, and it primarily has to do with these upper control arms right here, this end and that end right there, because the shroud, let me show you, you've got an indentation here for this passenger side and an indentation here for the driver side. Then you've got this indentation for your lower radiator hose. You've got to be able to get that, now getting past this hump right here is the problem, and getting past this hump and this hump here is the problem. So that's why you've got to get all the room you could possibly get so you can clear those upper control arms right there. All right. I've already removed the lower radiator hose. And as you can see, the radiator itself isn't hard to remove. It's the shroud that's the problem. and I was able to do it with no problem with the water pump installed. So if you have to do a radiator swap, you'll have to pull the fan and the pulley, alternator, but I wouldn't pull the water pump. All right. All right. As you can see, got the big hole back here again. Now pulling the radiator and the condenser sure makes it easy to do any front end work up here. You know, I rebuilt this headlight actuator. I may do this one while I got this real easy access. I don't know, we'll see, because this keeps snowballing, you know. Now, of course, like I said, if I had known before what I know now, I wouldn't have touched the radiator. I would have, of course, I would have had to have pulled the condenser or the headlight actuators, and I would have picked the condenser. And I would have had to have loosened the core support bracket here, which is 3 bolts on the other side. Previous video shows that. And that would have got this moved up enough to have gotten that shroud out of the way. And with the shroud out of the way, I could have done my repair, leaving the radiator. So anyway, but that's that rear view mirror. You know, it's 2020 rear view mirror, isn't it? Well, so we've got the radiator. It's going to take it about a week to get here. So I'll carry on. Unless I do anything else, I'll carry on and get that new radiator in and all this butt back up when I get it. So anyway, that's where we're at. Oh, you might be thinking to yourself, well, dang, Dave, you're taking it real easy. Well, that's the only way to take it. Yeah, you know, stuff happens, and unfortunately, I should have replaced the radiator in the first place and not tried to repair, what, 75? This is, what is this, 2020? That's 22, 15, what is that, 35, 37 years? That's quite a bit of time to get out of a radiator. Of course, I'm not going to say that 49 Chevrolet truck sitting over there with a 49 radiator in it still working. Maybe they just made things better back in the day. I don't know. I'm going to call it a day.